working collaboratively, building the ecosystem, creating the right business climate are all the things that are necessary for success.
What drove you to be part of this work? Like, what was that aha moment that you had in your life that you're like, wow, you know what? This is what I need to be doing. This is where my calling is.
I think what many of us have worked on is creating the kind of environment that's conducive to the creation, expansion, and attraction of tech-based companies.
What are some one or two or even three steps that they could take today in their community to start building this out of what the future could look like in their community?
One of the things that Arizona does really well is leverages collaboration. So I saw the kind of societal change that technology can have on a community as well.
We're seeing Arizona grow at the rate that it's growing because of the financial investment. Can you imagine what it could grow if we're able to harness energy?
I tell people all the time, there's never been a better time to be in Arizona than right now.
I know you just finished watching the trailer, but I highly encourage you to listen to the rest of the episode, because what Steven brings into our conversation is about how to build an ecosystem for the 21st century. In this world that's moving gradually then suddenly, it's about the gradual work that matters. And Steven brings that to life in our conversation. If you find any value in our conversation, please like and subscribe. Now on to the episode. Welcome back to the Future Human Experience. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez. I'm very excited today to have our guest, Steven Zylstra. Thank you so much for joining us. He's the president and CEO of the Arizona Tech Council, an organization that I've been learning more about since I've joined it not too long ago. But Steven, welcome to the podcast. I'm very excited about our conversation today.
It's a great pleasure to be here. I love talking about tech, and I think that's what we're going to talk about today.
Absolutely, Steven. So first off, tell us a little bit more about the Arizona Tech Council. Tell us a little bit more about the history, because what I've learned over the last few months that we've been working together, and more importantly, what I would love the audience to know more about this work is that Arizona today is this tech hub that we've seen, and that's become probably one of the most important locations in the United States going into the 2020s. But how we got here is a wonderful story, and you've been in the middle of all that work along with great leaders and community leaders as well. Can you share with us a little bit more, Steven?
Yeah, as you know, people think this kind of thing happens overnight.
Yeah.
And of course, it doesn't. In fact, I've been working on it here in Arizona for 40 years.
Wow.
Ran the Arizona Technology Council in the 80s and the high-tech industry cluster in the 90s. And it's just an exciting time to be here in Arizona, but the history is really important. I remember in 2008 or 2009, there were a group of leaders here in Arizona that got together after the Great Recession to talk about how we needed to diversify our economy. These are people like Sandra Watson and Chris Camacho and other community leaders. That's really what started the full court press on moving our economy to a tech-based economy. As you know, real estate used to be the economic engine of the day, right? The lawyers, the title companies, the real estate brokers, and so on and so forth. But today we're in a very different space. We're leading one of the highest growth tech sectors in the country. We're really a tech hub now, and I'm just excited to be here at this time.
Yeah, and Steven, you hinted to something, right? That because today we live in this era that we feel that things just happen all of a sudden, but really things happen gradually then suddenly, right? It's that gradual work that takes place. With that said, Steven, can you share with us a little bit more about how did you navigate over the last several decades the incentive systems that are there built to really have a short-term perspective and say, you know, if I'm a political leader today, a community leader tomorrow, or an investor, I need a return now, Steven. I know you want to build something in the next 10 to 20 years, but my stakeholders are expecting something today. How did you help them navigate that conversation and have a long-term perspective to position not only Phoenix today to be a hub for great investors, but also to be a role model for how to build sustainable tech ecosystems for the rest of the country?
So I think what many of us have worked on is creating the kind of environment that's conducive to the creation, expansion, and attraction of tech-based companies. Just a few examples of the things the Tech Council has been involved in. Back in 2006, we created the Angel Investment Tax Credit, one of the first in the country to do that. Now a lot of people do it, but it incents investors to make investments in these early stage, primarily technology companies, because to meet the requirements, they have to be a high growth company. In 2008, we created the best research and development tax credit in the United States. As a consequence, by the way, your former employer, Intel, moved R&D operations here, because this was the best place in the country if you're doing R&D. There's quality facility incentives, quality jobs incentives. All of these things have now persisted for a long period of time. In fact, in the last few years, we've extended both the R&D tax credit and the angel investment tax credit for another decade. And then for early stage companies, we created something called the refundable R&D tax credit. So if you're an early stage company and you're not generating net income and have no tax burden, what is a tax credit good for? What we did is, through statute, small companies are allowed to trade their R&D tax credits into the state for cash. The state gets a 25% discount on its ongoing obligation, but the startup gets its funding when it needs it most at the early stage. So a lot of these things are in place that has made Arizona the kind of business climate that's so attractive to tech-based companies. And that's why we see this massive influx of companies coming here.
And Steven, and over the history, you've seen a mix of party representation in the politics here in Arizona, from Democrats to Republicans. And what I love about the approach of the council is that y'all just said, hey, you know what? We just want to be engaged on what's best for the state and what's best for the ecosystem. And so sometimes when we, at least as a community, we said, we have to remove ourselves from politics. We have to remove ourselves from politics. You've leaned into that, but leaned in a way that says, we believe in this. We believe in how we're going to serve the community. And that's how we're going to get engaged. Regardless of if it's red or blue or purple or what have you, we're there to be engaged. Can you share with us a little bit more? Did you have any pushback on getting engaged in the political aspects of things, or did that focused approach really is what helped y'all navigate regardless of the political wings?
Well, I just talked about creating a business climate that's conducive to the creation and attraction of these kinds of companies. Well, one of the things that we've done since the beginning of the Tech Council is public policy advocacy. And we do it at the local, state, and federal level. So at the state level, we have a public policy committee that meets twice a month. We have contract lobbyists. We have a political action committee. And all of these things are necessary for you to be effective in changing policy. And as you point out, we don't focus on politics. We focus on policy. And but what we do is, first of all, we honor the legislators that do the right thing for the tech industry. We do that every year at our governor's celebration of innovation. And every other year during a campaign season, we publish something called Vote Tech Smart. So what we do is we look at the track record over the previous 2 years, all the legislators, and see who has done the best job at supporting the tech agenda. And then for the new candidates, we actually survey and interview them. So not this last June, but the June before, I think we interviewed 75 to 80 legislators. So we have an understanding of their position on the things that matter to the tech sector. So I'll just share with you something that's very profound that just happened. So people either love or hate the big, beautiful bill, right?
Sure, yes.
But in the big, beautiful bill, Section 174 of the IRS code was changed. And it was because of the advocacy of all the tech councils around the United States. We're all part of an organization called the Tech Councils of North America. And collectively, we represent 22,000 technology companies. So we have a very strong voice in Washington. And Section 174 dealt with R&D expensing. During the first Trump administration, his first tax changes, One of the ways they paid for it was in 2022, your R&D expenses had to start being amortized over 5 years rather than being taken in the year that they incurred. And this was very, very hard on small companies, right? Their tax bills suddenly went way up.
Yeah.
So in the big, beautiful bill, we fixed that. And now you can, again, expense your R&D expenses in the year that they incurred.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So getting involved, focus on policy, educating also our communities to understand, hey, this is how your votes impact things that either you care about or they're important to you, or that you might not even agree with, but at least you understand the perspective of that person. So leading with transparency is something also that's been in the works. So that's wonderful to see. But now, Steven, let's get to know what's your why in this work, right? Because that's the other thing too I find fascinating when I have a chance to bring community leaders like yourself into this work. You care about the future, you care about the present, you care about doing this important work, connecting all of us in this community into this important work. What drove you to be part of this work? Like, what was that aha moment that you had in your life that you're like, wow, you know what, this is what I need to be doing. This is where my calling is to go and lead these type of efforts.
So I spent over 20 years in the tech field myself. I was in aerospace and defense, and I ran an R&D operation in Scottsdale, and we were very successful at winning Small Business Innovation Research Awards from the federal government. And the guy that had helped create the program in Washington worked with Roland Tibbetts at NSF. His name was Milton Stewart. Noted that my little R&D shop had won 19 of these SBIR awards, right? And these are very innovative programs. And so he came to me one day and he said, you know, I have this, he had retired here. He said, I have this vision of creating a national innovation network. And he said, I would like to start here in Arizona.
Wow.
And I would like you to be the guy, right? So he inspired me to create the Arizona Innovation Network. I think it was in 1986 or something like that. So this goes back a long ways, when real estate was king. And so what I realized is that I'm very good at it, right?
Awesome.
I'm an engineer. I'd been in the tech industry. I've always loved technology since I was a little boy. And so, you know, the impact that I could make inspired me. You know, even from the beginning when I was running the Arizona Innovation Network, we ran legislation, right, that profoundly impacted the tech sector here. So, and then I love the impact that it can have on society. And that impact is great, right? It turns out tech companies have very highly educated workforces. And as a consequence of that, those people demand more of their community. They demand better schools. They demand better infrastructure. They help improve the environment in which we all live because they demand it. And so I saw the kind of societal change that technology can have on a community as well.
Wow. With that said, though, too, Steven, one of the things, too, that you also are leading, too, is you're leading a lot of work also for the next generation. So not just supporting the organizations and the companies that today are building out what the workforce is in the present and for the future, but you're also tapping into the science and technology and the STEM programs for the next generation. Can you share with us a little bit more about that effort that you were leading?
Yeah, so the Arizona Technology Council Foundation actually does business as the SciTech Institute, and I'll share with you why. It's focused exclusively on education and exclusively on STEM education. So I actually have 3 times as many employees at the SciTech Institute as I do at the Arizona Tech Council. And I have a great leader who works for me, the executive director, Dr. Jeremy Babender. He's really a visionary. And it started because I wanted to create a SciTech festival here in Arizona. When I ran the Pittsburgh Tech Council, we had done that in Pittsburgh. And so when I came back, Janet Napolitano put me on her STEM advisory board, and I started promoting this idea. And the woman that Zan Simonson, who ran the Science Teachers Association, said, hey, you may want to talk to this guy in San Diego. He's running the San Diego Science Festival, but he's from here, and I think he wants to come home. And he had graduated from ASU, but then did his PhD at the University of California at San Diego, was running this festival. So he came back, and 13 or 14 years ago, we created the SciTech Festival. And it is massive in its impact. Things go on in 80 of 90 Arizona cities over a 2-month period of February and March of each year. But the really coolest program that we ever created, and the reason we had to change our name, is called the Chief Science Officer Program. And the way it works is, I think we have 137 school districts and currently about 330 CSOs in Arizona. The school has to run an election in grades 6 through 12 to elect a chief science officer. That student has to create a STEM action plan for their class. We run them through a leadership institute. We bring them together with other CSOs in what we call cabinets. We honor them annually in an event called the STEMmies.
Wow.
And that program is so successful, we're now in 16 other states and 6 other countries.
That is awesome.
So it no longer made sense for us to have Arizona in the name because we had a global program now. So all of this is to inspire and incent the next generation to look at science, technology, engineering, and math as an educational path and a career path.
Absolutely. And Steven, how can people get involved in that type of work? If right now, if you're listening to this in Arizona or in other places around the country, around the world, how can people find out more about SciTech?
Yeah, well, first of all, go to our website,
Okay.
scitechinstitute.org. But we're always looking for volunteers to get engaged. We're always looking for students to participate. Parents are really important, right? Parents really help students make their decisions about the path that they're going to take. So we engage with people at just about every level. Businesses participate. We've got lots of support from the business community here for these programs. Philanthropy supports us. We have some federal grants. Fortunately, so far so good, but unfortunately they focus on areas that were on the list, right? Like DEI and sustainability and kids with autism and so on. But fortunately, we've been able to change the language in our agreements to continue our work. But it's a difficult time with regard to that, as I'm sure you know. And equity is really important to us across everything that we do. Rural communities need to participate in this growth and get involved. I'm proud that as a result of the Inflation Reduction Act, Arizona got about $12 billion in investment and created 19,000 jobs. And a disproportionate number of those were in rural communities in Arizona. So those are the kinds of things that light me up.
That's awesome. Steven, with that said, we've seen some wonderful successes here in Arizona over the last not only few years, but several decades. But what is one statistic or one story that resonates with you that you can look back and be like, man, this really does identify the momentum that we've seen here?
So the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company in North Phoenix is got to be the most significant story maybe ever in Arizona, right? So we've gotten $165 billion in foreign direct investment. That's more than any other state in the history of the United States. And I think for 3 or 4 years running, we've been number one in foreign direct investment because of all the growth. And by the way, it's all in technology or advanced manufacturing. And in fact, TSMC is going to build 6 fabs, an R&D center, and a packaging center. And if you've been up I-17 lately, you'll notice that a whole new community is growing up around it. The impact on jobs and it was the largest construction site in the United States for a long time. I think there were 12,000 construction workers out there. And we had the tallest crane in the world out there too.
Plus like 12 other cranes.
Plus 12 other cranes, that's right. So I think it epitomizes what's going on in Arizona. The whole world is watching us now. I can say that almost every week I entertain a group of foreigners that are coming here to take a look at what's happening here in Arizona and how do they become part of it from companies, countries all over the world. So it's such an exciting time. But by the way, they brought 50 of their suppliers with them, right?
That's right.
So those companies are setting up shop here as well. And Sandra Watson, who's the president and CEO of the Arizona Commerce Authority, told me recently that they have like 460 projects in the pipeline, right? And some of them are really big projects. So it's just indicative of the whole new environment that we're experiencing here in Arizona. And I tell people all the time, there's never been a better time to be in Arizona than right now.
I agree. And we are filming this in the middle of the summer in Arizona as well.
That's right.
Even with all the heat. With that said, Steven, that's a fantastic example. And what I think about when we talk about TSMC or we just talk about the momentum that we're seeing here too, I've shared this privately, I've shared this publicly. I've said Arizona is uniquely positioned to be the most important place in the Western world, probably for the next 20 to 30, 40 years.
Yep.
If we do the right work in the right way, working together, collaborating, and not only you are an example of that, but the leaders that we have today are an example of that. Not saying that there's not going to be challenges coming forward, but how we navigate this opportunity, this momentum, so we can keep riding it, role modeling what we could do is wonderful. Not only that, but the example that you shared, which is the $165 billion, and you were just sharing that the suppliers are coming. Even the roads are changing. I mean, all the multitude of jobs that are happening because of an investment from a corporation to come in and say, you know what, we believe in what the future could look like in this particular location is wonderful. With that said, if I'm not in Arizona listening to this podcast, but I'm inspired and I want to do this in my community, Steven, what would be your recommendations to them and saying that they're raising their hand saying, Steven, I want to do that. I want to be the next Arizona, or follow the momentum or some lessons learned that the Tech Council has led along with the multitude of leaders around the community. What are some 1 or 2 or even 3 steps that they could take today in their community to start building this out of what the future could look like in their community?
So we talked about one, and that's creating the kind of business climate, the kind of environment that's conducive to attracting these kinds of companies. And we've done a good job at that here in Arizona. Not every state has those kinds of policies, right? The reason a lot of companies are moving to Arizona is because the state they're in doesn't have that kind of business climate, right? In fact, some of them are the antithesis of that. I won't mention any states.
Fair enough.
But that's one of the important things. I think one of the things that Arizona does really well is leverages collaboration. I've lived in a lot of cities around the country, and they tend to operate in silos, right? People within those environments operate in silos. I work with just about everyone you can imagine, from the universities to the people at the legislature, to people in government, to other associations, other chambers of commerce. We have that collaborative gene. And I think it's really important to success in any place that happens, right? So you can be your best, you can amplify and connect all those dots, right, for the greater good. So that's another thing. And so it's really about building that ecosystem and all the things that are necessary to build that ecosystem. I think our government has done a really good job through various different administrations, R's and D's, at keeping focus on this issue, right, on economic growth. And the policies have followed. So I think working collaboratively, building the ecosystem, creating the right business climate are all the things that are necessary for success.
I love that. That's a great to-do list for people to start taking actions today. With that said, Steven, we also like to do some really fun things with our guests. I asked them to come with a question prepared for me. So what question do you have for me, Steven, in this work that we've been doing?
Okay, so we've talked about the semiconductor industry Aerospace and defense is big here. Health and bioscience is big here. We have a growing sort of e-mobility and clean energy sector here. What do you think the next big thing is going to be here in Arizona?
I think the next big thing here in Arizona that I frankly thought was going to be the next big thing when I moved here 15 years ago is renewable energy. I've been really surprised, Steven. I'll be honest with you. I mean, we moved here in 2010 with my wife, and I remember talking to her about our roof, for example, something as simple as that, and just saying, you know what, honey, in 7 years or something, we're going to have like the latest and greatest technology all over our cities because we get 355 days of sun here. Like we could figure out how to harness that and really empower our communities if we're able to make energy more accessible. And I'll be honest with you, I've been pretty disappointed that it hasn't happened yet. Maybe my timing is a little bit off. But what I've always been impressed about Arizona, though, is that we've always found a way to do that type of work, right? That maybe our timing isn't necessarily the most ideal, but the way we break science here for water, for energy, for air conditioning, I mean, it all happens either here or in Dubai. And I'm really excited about the possibilities of how we're able to harness the amount of energy that, because of our unique location, we're able to leverage, and what that could do to empower the data centers, to empower all this type of growth that we're seeing. I think is fascinating. We're seeing Arizona grow at the rate that it's growing because of the financial investment. Can you imagine what it could grow if we're able to harness energy? And we know statistically where energy grows, financial wealth grows as well. So that gets me really excited. I think there is a financial incentive here to figure out a way to harness and capture and repurpose energy, monetize energy, that I don't think we've fulfilled the full potential of it. And so that gets me really excited.
So I agree with you. We're Arizona and we're behind in this area. But the good news is this: in order for us to meet the demand going forward, we're absolutely going to have to build lots of solar and lots of battery storage, because it's the only way that we can get to where we need to be. For instance, I had the occasion recently to be in the company of the CEO of SRP, APS, and First Solar.
And those are the main
energy providers. Here in Phoenix anyway,
Yeah.
TEP down in Tucson. And they basically said that because of our growth, they're going to have to create 40% more power in the next 5 years than we create today.
Wow.
40% more power in the next 5 years by 2030. And it's taken us 100 years to get where we're at. And frankly, there's a couple of issues. There will be more gas too. Gas is an important transition fuel, but they're having a hard time getting gas turbines right now. Right? They're not made here. And so there's supply chain issues. But I think we're going to see a massive amount of solar. There is a little bit of NIMBYism going on here in Arizona. Both for data centers and solar facilities. I think we're working on that. We're trying to overcome some of that, but it's going to be essential for us to succeed. We've got one of the premier electric vehicle manufacturers here in Lucid, and they just keep making bigger announcements, right? They're doing very well right now. There are 4 battery factories here.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, wow.
Well, Scion has been in Arizona, I think, since the 80s, and they're in Tucson. And they use a different chemistry. They have a higher energy density battery. LG is a $5.5 billion investment in Queen Creek.
Yeah, that's right.
And then the third one hasn't broken ground yet, but it's called American Battery Factory, also in Tucson.
Wow.
So I think when you combine solar and battery storage,
it's happening.
It's happening, and it's going to be the future.
Yeah, and that gets me really excited, Steven, of what's possible here. And again, I mean, I think our conversation today, I know has been a masterclass of what when a community comes together, stays focused, focuses on policy, focuses on building an ecosystem, stays a community-first approach to build what the future could look like. That has been that conversation today, Steven. And I thank you for not only spending time with us, the leadership that you have role modeled for all of us to follow as we continue to grow this wonderful place, but also for the rest of the country to understand what this looks like and what the possibilities are. Right. That, of course, if you want to be part of this, feel free to move in Arizona. But if you care also about your community and build something out, there's something here as well to learn from that as well. So with that, Steven, I thank you for being part of the Future Human Experience. How can people connect with you and the work that the Tech Council is leading? We'll make sure we put all the links of that into the podcast, but share with us a little bit more.
aztechcouncil.org is our website. And then for SciTech, it's scitechinstitute.org. And there's a myriad of information on both those websites about who we are and what we do.
Wonderful. Steven, thank you so much for being part of the podcast. And we're looking forward to continue this important work and fulfilling the potential of what the tech sector could be to make not only Arizona more human, but the rest of the world more human. Thank you, Steven.
Thank you. It was a pleasure being here.
Thank you for listening to this episode. I'm inspired to hear that these conversations are resonating within our communities, our organizations, our companies, and our households all around the world. If you found this conversation to be valuable, please take the time to like, subscribe, and share it with someone else. I do believe that as the future gets much more digitized, it gives us an opportunity to be much more human as well. And these conversations are part of that journey. So if you're enjoying the content on this channel, please check out these videos. Thank you.